Hello and welcome to Get the Table, a wrestling roundtable podcast with myself, Michael Sidgwick, and fellow Dudley boy, Michael Hamflett. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure to subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube for daily wrestling podcasts where we preview and review Raw, SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. Dynamite, pay-per-views, premium live events. We have wrestling roundtable discussions just like this one, wrestler interviews on occasion, question and answer time, and we host a roundup of the week complete with a bloody good quiz of chaos on wrestle culture. Now, the topic for today is, what is your hottest wrestling take? What is the opinion you hold in which you must put your head above the parapet and just be a little bit too real, huh? And we've solicited your hot takes on X at msidgwick, at WhatCulture WWE. Do not bother at saying Michael Hamflett because he's quit. He's quit Twitter.
Yeah, gonna give it a year. Gonna see how much I actually miss it because it's goated at points, and it has been the go-to for certainly the last 10 years. I've been on it for 15, 16 years, but definitely the last 10 when it became your kind of one-stop shop.
Yeah.
You could get all the news, but then it was Pop City Jones in there. So I want to see what it was like before.
Yeah.
As it pertains to finding out about anything. How's that going to work?
I know.
Don't know.
Then you think, do I need to know a lot of this information?
I think there's a little bit of that as well.
Yeah.
A little bit. You have inspired me somewhat in this thing. It has been a gradual step off for me and X. I won't turn this podcast into that. But yourself and Nicholas, I think by coincidence, I don't think you've coordinated this, but over the last sort of 2 or 3 weeks, have both mentioned your times as book readers. And I joke about it, but the joke is the truth. I've read 2 books in the last 8 years, and you authored them. Went into the old book hole, read stuff I remembered. Loved living through it, loved rereading it, And that's probably not enough. And you'll know this. There are moments as a loving father, by the way, when every now and then the old pull of the, what's happening over there?
Yeah.
When you could be doing something over there with the real people and that. And then it's but if I pull this down, who knows what's going to come on the old Twitter one-arm bandit? Yes, my children are having this one moment that they'll never have again in their whole life at this age. One-arm bandits over there.
I know. I know for a fact in the years to come when they don't want to spend so much time with their old man or they even flee the nest, I will at some point think, you'll miss them. You'll miss those days.
Yep.
Tough as they can sometimes be. And I will think, God, I spent a lot of time on my goddamn phone back then. I wish I could have just thrown it away or not been on Twitter.
That's normal, by the way. There's every version of that in every generation.
Yeah, absolutely. However, I wish I could let go. And there are increasingly so few reasons to be on there. If Elon didn't come up with a For You tab, which is the only good idea this idiot's ever had in his life in terms of making people chronically addicted to that app, I don't think the people I follow or the accounts, they barely tweet. There are times where I'll do the old, right, what's next, show more tweets or however many new tweets. There ain't many. So I'd love to do it, but I lack the willpower. Should we crack on?
Well, just before we start, it's been a while since we had this one, but it does come up as a question sometimes, which is why I like that we're covering it and throwing it out to people today. Do you have what you consider a hot take?
Yeah.
Yours? I know that it can change, by the way, because obviously it relates to what's happening in wrestling. Now it could be a historic one.
Yeah.
When this meme does the rounds, what's the one that pops into your brain if you were going to quote to it?
I've said this a million times, so I'll try and keep it succinct. And I think this take applies to WWE generally in terms of how great they are at marketing, the inbuilt advantage they have over a generation of wrestling fans in terms of just their memories and phases of life and just this attachment that people have to it in spite of not just factors, not just evidence proof of it not being great. The Royal Rumble is not good. The Royal Rumble is a pretty tedious match. The potential is there for it to be great. It's rarely explored enough. It doesn't really bear rewatches. I find myself very, very bored if I ever get excited about an upcoming Rumble and
Watch
revisit.
like 15 every
I
time.
know, man.
It's funny, but like I don't even disagree
Yeah.
with all of it. But like, and yet it does have this kind of like hit hold on me.
It's like the Royal Rumble has a completely unwarranted mystique, and yet it is warranted because everyone believes in it, and everyone believes it, and everyone loves it, even though every year passes. I can't remember the last one that gets unanimous praise, and I think it's sort of emblematic of just the stranglehold that WWE has over people generally. You are more often than not let down, angry, or just underwhelmed by a lot of what WWE does, and yet it's always been there for you.
My team in it. It's my sports team.
It's your sports team. What's your hot take? And I also think, on the Rumble, one of the reasons nowadays why it is, for me anyway, I know this is the knives coming to the throat. I know I'm on an island with this, and yet I think subconsciously people might agree. It's that I look at the best AEW Battle Royals, the second half of which are often electrifying, and I look at how Jack Perry, with his sort of near misses and saves, a lot less showy than the Kofi spot, even though the Kofi spots are often excellent. And it's just the Rumbles are agented, structured, and executed in as if they are a bunch of juice monster 6'5"ers, not exactly caring about their work rate in the late 80s, early 90s, because who could possibly care about working hard when it's wrestling? You don't have to. It's hard enough as it is being a wrestler, putting on great matches, leave that for Japan sort of thing. That mentality evident in late 80s, early 90s WWF, and no one's going to put a big shift in the Rumble. It's a you
got 5 more nights of work out after this.
Exactly. You've got 5 more nights after work of work after this. You've got to bump in those matches. You only have to bump if you're standing around in the wrong place when the next person comes out. Just hang out by the ropes. Who cares? It's too often worked like there hasn't been untold athletic evolution and drama and excitement in a pro wrestling match. There's a lot of just stalling in the corner. I think that it's Triple H. It ain't never going to change as long as he's in charge, but they are still way too long for the sake of it, especially now that there are 2 matches on one show, which I'm in favor of. Or like the more parity, the better.
It's the best show to go to 2 nights. Like,
yes.
More so than SummerSlam already has.
Yeah.
It's the best show that could warrant a good 2-night.
Yeah. Is it 2-nighter in 2026?
No, there's rumours about that it'll be 2027.
Yeah, I mean,
but that'll make for a better weekend of Rumble.
Yeah,
action,
yeah.
I think.
Absolutely.
Right.
What's your hot take?
Terry Funk's overrated.
Oh, God.
We're doing knives to throat stuff. Yeah. I think I've always thought it. And the thing was, there's knives to throat, and then there's saying something like that on an internet forum in the early 2000s. I'd rather have the knives to throats.
Yes.
Than have my IP docs and probably have like VC sent to my house by a future 4chan poster that used to inhabit wrestling forums of the early 2000s by saying as much. Yeah, just think he's fine. And I don't know. Like I've probably seen 2 Terry Funk matches ever that have helped me understand why people go as high on him as they do, and I still didn't go as high myself in them.
Yeah.
Like I think he's a wonderful person that happened to pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Like you would put him in that group of people that left it better than they found it.
Oh, why with the ECW stuff.
Yeah. And I think like there was he lit the way for ways in which you can retire / wind down, if you want to call it winding down. So I think there are models of the way Terry Funk did business to follow, but the lauded period of his work I find to be like extremely overrated by like kind of, I don't mean this to sound as critical as it's gonna, like hopeless nostalgic folk, as in like they are dreaming of wrestling to be all this, and they're so consumed by their dreams of like a sort of a 1982 Terry Funk match. They are dreaming for wrestling to be a bit more like that they elevate its brilliance into something more than it actually is. Like, I think he was possibly more charismatic than a lot of his colleagues at the time.
Yeah.
But then you would sometimes see people in the right program like unlock a charisma that they'd never exhibited before. There are like a lot of people in the 80s have that. We were talking about Ted DiBiase yesterday in the compression. Like, and DiBiase had a great career, but like there are certain moments for certain wrestlers in the 80s just because of the way the business was done. Like, you weren't necessarily going to have, it's not weekly television. You're not going to have like an awesome program all the time. You might have this one inciting incident that's there.
Well, some of it was weekly.
No, but like in terms of like the big angles,
yeah,
you might do one every 6 months designed to try and heat up a territory.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
I just don't feel it with my body when I watch Terry Funk's work in a way that I see that a lot of people do.
Yeah.
And thus I'm left to assume it's rooted in some sort of like wishing that it could all be like that, you know?
I will say I like Funk a lot more than you. Not so much that I'm going to do an exhaustive deep dive into...
Dusty Rhodes I feel the same about, by the way. It's for all the same reasons.
Yeah.
Like, I can absolutely see when it hits.
Yeah.
But a lot of it just sort of washes over me.
Yeah, I don't love him with all my heart enough to do the most exhaustive, comprehensive, no stone unturned deep dive into his work. Some of it can be a little bit corny for me. But peak Terry Funk is as good, I reckon, as people say he is in terms of the Flair Funk I Quit match, which I know you will love.
Yeah.
Like the sense of hatred and physical anguish sort of communicated to the audience in that match is the example I use when I don't deem that modern wrestlers sell quite enough. And they do make grifters of you by making you think they either make you a grifter or the dead man. Slow it down. Make the little things mean more, because every time I watch that match, it's like, that's what's missing.
Yeah.
That's what's missing. I can't articulate, and I can go around the houses and tell you. But then you just watch it and that's there. It's that. That is missing. That is missing. But yeah, not so great. Sometimes a little bit corny for me.
Well, I'm glad you flagged this, because this takes me back to the forum days, and less footage was available. So then you'd be given a match, like say there was a thread and somebody had like uploaded it as a singular video file that you watched to like illustrate their point. I would watch it and feel like I was like the Crazy Pills guy, because it would, like, a theme of the praise towards Terry Funk is like the reality he brought to it. Flair and Funk, 100% agree.
Yes.
Particularly the program, because of how he starts as the commentator, wanting to get back out there to where he ends at the end of it all. And like Flair's evolution.
Madman completely warped by hatred and jealousy.
Yeah, and like as a like an immediate run on from the Steamboat feud, and how Flair had
He's
himself
funny as hell Funk
evolved.
as well at times.
As it pertains to most of the other stuff, like, I find him to be like a cartoon. And I don't have a problem with cartoonish wrestlers, but he's held aloft as like for the present day. And I don't.
I think people like the range. People like the range.
Yeah.
Like the Stoogen. People love Stoogen.
People love Stoogen. It's I get, and again, but I think I'm going back to my first point here. I think a real deep well of stuff that is not practiced as much anymore.
Yeah.
Something that a lot of people have, and this goes back like the last 20, 30 years, really, because as we say, there's always, he's the example, he's just like Harley Ray. Like,
Harley Ray, Carl Gotch buried Harley Ray.
Screwing
around too much. What are you, a circus performer?
Like, there's probably 20, 25 years of people not doing what a lot of Terry Funk and his ilk did.
Yeah.
But I think that's okay. Like, I think it's a natural evolution. And Dave Meltzer has used his star ratings to illustrate this point, and I wish he hadn't, because I do fundamentally agree with the take. Most things do progress and get better than you ever could have imagined. A lot of wrestling does look like...
I don't think that does, by the way.
Well,
music doesn't.
What do you mean?
Music's not as good as it used to be.
Well, we wouldn't know. Like,
I'm fairly certain I would have heard. I would go on Pitchfork.
Well, yeah, you do go on Pitchfork, yeah.
I keep track of what's meant to be the most claimed stuff.
You're probably not going to feel it, are you? Because like there's definitely an age and a sweet spot where we're at our most susceptible to like that kind of like emotional response to a thing.
Yeah.
Like I would fully imagine that in 100 years, like a lot. I use the Beatles as an
There's
example.
no like genre being innovated
There's only
now.
there will be.
No, there's not.
Like
You would have heard about it. I'm not that old.
The Beatles will be one of the only survivors of 60s pop music. And like loads and loads below them that would have meant more in the 80s have already started to fade into the background and will fade further and fade further. You're at best going to get one or two artists of entire decades that will like stand 100 years from now. Like, so we're probably still hitting that ratio, I would say. Like, everything ages out. I'm okay with that. Like, I think everything ages out, wrestling included. And I agree with Dave Meltzer's take on that. But I wish you didn't illustrate with star ratings. Like, Kenny Omega matches is like traveling in tubes, is like flying cars compared to a Harley Race match.
Yes.
In wrestling terms.
Yes.
Star ratings don't illustrate that point very well.
No.
Poor Dave. But I agree with him. I do agree with him. And I just think, like, I think it's okay to look at that Terry Funk thing and be like, right, great, well done. Like, the spinning toe hold is toilet.
Okay. From Terry Funk to another wrestler who possibly a bit overrated, nowhere near as real as people make him out to be. Matt Reigns has a question about CM Punk. He says, if Brawl Out and the event, this is the first of a few hot takes. If this is from Matt Reigns. If Brawl Out and the events leading up to it never occur, AEW is the clear #1 company. It was trending that way until Sheriff Punk screwed it. I would love to believe this. I truly would. But the closest AEW came to genuinely overtaking Raw was like when Punk had just debuted. I can't remember the exact dates, but they beat them in consecutive weeks. Dynamite beat Raw in the demo, or tied and beat Raw in the demo 2 consecutive weeks, which just seems absolutely incredible now. With Punk doing arguably career best work against both Eddie Kingston and MJF. Meanwhile, you have Hangman Page is, you know, like the world champion. The story has been told. Bryan Danielson, a top WWE star and one of the best in-ring wrestlers ever, is doing some of his best work. That momentum from that All Out 2021, is this the paradigm shift? Had in fact faded. The MJF CM Punk feud, as incredible as it was on an episodic basis, and it was like some bold concepts, some really cool detail, but it was one of those like the classic Simpsons, the Beatles, like all the best Universal works are brilliant on the surface, appeal to loads of different demos and ages on the surface, but if you are old enough or you look hard enough or whatever, it goes so deep. So I'm saying that AEW versus CM Punk versus MJF was almost the perfect professional wrestling feud, because if you like AEW and you pay more attention to it and all these things, or if you just want to watch the best executed version imaginable of pure hatred in that ring, CM Punk versus MJF was perfection. WWE's Turcarino all-time bad tier 2021 stuff was kind of handily outdrawing it. Bruce Pritchard around this time grew in influence. Yeah. He's sort of, you know, before the Levesque resurgence, kind of thwarted AEW through Raw. I know it sounds crazy, but he did in terms of pure 1 and 2. And the fact is, I think, like, by the time Brawl Out was happening, I think Tony Khan might have peaked creatively. He might have peaked creatively for true creativity during the pandemic. Meanwhile, Cody Rhodes was a bona fide superstar under the creative stewardship of Vince McMahon. I mean, it's not nice to bring him up in a flattering light.
And we don't know how it would have gone, I guess. Like, does he lose patience? Does he, you know, it's Vince. Does he see it through?
I mean,
I think he sees it through.
He did a magnificent job, and like, it's one of those where it's like
draped in an American flag. He gets a lot of what he always liked.
Yeah. So as much as I would like to believe it, I think that AEW's chance to truly take off was was actually, I don't want to say squandered, because it's always been an incredible thing, and it remains really an incredible thing that they can be a viable number 2, even if they only get a proper, great, truly impressive pro wrestling house once a month on pay-per-view these days. It's still awesome to have, but I think the idea of them being this truly WCW 97 sized entity that had faded before Brawl Out for me.
Yeah, Matt's used the number 1 company as well, hasn't he? It's not just talking like on a par. It's replacing. It
says clear number 1 company.
Replacing, so 1997 WCW. So the year that it becomes what's pro wrestling in North America, it's WCW. How's this happened?
Yes.
To use Tony Khan's own analogy of Pepsi and Coke, New Coke lasted like 70 days, 77 days in 1986. New Fed lasted 20 years.
Yeah.
Like, people wanted Coca-Cola, the Coca-Cola, just like they remembered it. And there was a 20-year period, 21-year period, 22-year period where it was, why can I have my Coca-Cola Classic back?
No.
And then in 2022, it felt like getting it back. Like, and I speak from somebody that likes this Coca-Cola and likes this company. Like, that's what it like there. And a lot of people, I remember there was like a lot of, it was probably out of a bit of anger or disillusionment with the way that the trends had happened in that period, 2022, 23. Like, people were saying, like, quite angrily, like, starting to realize a lot of people maybe didn't want second promotion. They just wanted the first one to be good. I was like, yeah, that's fine. That's how market leaders work. Like, yes, that is what
I was shocked by that.
That is what a lot of people wanted. And like, that's how, historically, that's how a lot of things go, you know? I'm glad AEW is around, but you know, this is not new to any of our listeners. Like, priority for me as a wrestling fan is for good WWE over like good alternatives. I'd pick it. I'd pick good there is no such thing as a good WWE in a monopoly, not one that I've experienced. But like, if that was a thing, I would take it. I would be happy with it. You know, Pepsi disappears tomorrow, it's okay because Coca-Cola's around and it's better. But like, and I say that as a Pepsi Max Cherry guy. It's my number 1 go-to now in the newsagents. Okay. 125 in my pocket, Pepsi Max Cherry, but it's Coca-Cola's Coca-Cola. Like, they're now forever together. That's the reality. Like, a lot of people did want that, and there's nothing wrong in that. That's how market leaders end up leading the market.
They are wrong.
But you must have been the first to say this. It just sounds like a you take. Like, All Out 2021 as WrestleMania 17 for better and worse.
Yeah. I thought it was the good 17. It turns out it was just 17.
It was the whole 17?
Yeah, it was just 17. Yeah, just...
Like, is there a 2001 Punk MJF? Like, in terms of, like, a kind of, like an epilogue, that you just for a second you can go, oh, I still got it. Because obviously Punk MJF still happens in 2022. There's nothing in the Fed after 17.
No, I think that's a bad analogy because one of them was a business-killing show. The other one was too good to be true. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. They were both like their own sort of apex.
Yes.
But, yeah.
Yeah, for different reasons. But, yeah, as much as I'd like to agree, I think the momentum was already with WWE, even under Vince, as awful as that sounds.
Matt, 24 hours before CM Punk did anything at Brawl Out, the man to my right leant over to me and whispered in my ear, "Hey, Hamflett, I think the Fed rules."
Clashing.
Like, things were happening.
Things were happening. Things were definitely happening, as much as it disgusts me to say. Joshua James says, in 5 years, Dirty Dom's rise will be remembered more fondly than Kyle Fletcher's current run. I just can't connect with him. Matches are good, but they all are today. Could go down as an Omega Ospreay regen without the crowd connection. Dom will stick with people for a long time. For me, not to go Rio Ferdinand, just enjoy both, guys. Just enjoy both. Because he's one of the worst guys out there, isn't he? Rio Ferdinand. Just a despicable, fake, hypocritical, just his entire quality, his essence repulses me. It really does. I get it. I think that they're both incredibly talented. I both enjoy watching them work. One of them is clearly like they both almost epitomize either side of that debate of why can't he be a great, unbelievable belt-to-belt pro wrestler whose stuff looks incredible? And the other guy is like, well, you know, he just gets it so much. And yeah, Fletcher gets it as well. I'm in a just enjoy both guys mode with them, but I do understand where you're coming from. And I think this is my take on it anyway, is that Dominik Mysterio, not just by being so heavily pushed in the promotional machine that is WWE, is got an advantage, but he also has an advantage over Fletcher in that Dominik Mysterio embodies an old elusive ideal of a guy who doesn't care if he's that good in the ring and impressing you with great moves. He wants to get his business done quickly and just cheat. What I mean by that is Dominik Mysterio, and I don't want to just say he's good because it's hasn't been done for a while, but my God, is his act and his entire way of approaching professional wrestling so much more refreshing than Kyle Fletcher's. Kyle Fletcher has got a way more difficult job in that. Yeah, you're not the first to mention. We've mentioned it on this pod. The stylistic lineage, if you like, of I don't know, AJ Styles, Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher. He's not just got this incredible ceiling to even approach, much less meet, much less exceed, but the specific lineage he's clearly trying to position himself at the end of it's not like the most understated work in the world. I love it when it's done. I love it more than anything, really, Omega and Ospreay's style, if you like, when it's done to its very best. I just find it so brutal, exciting, terrifying, but it's not as if they're doing really understated, like Tanahashi, you could watch this forever stuff. Like, there is a limit with how much you can do in terms of burning people out. Like, Omega never has for me, but that's because I have a parasocial relationship. As much as I think Will Ospreay is in-ring one of the best ever, there is a point where it's like, I would like you to go for 10 minutes just to see what you can do there, you know? Yeah. I think Fletcher has got too daunting an inspiration to sort of take to the next level. And because, through no fault of Fletcher's own, the people who he patterns himself after and all the rest of it have already done so much and already peaked it. You could argue they peaked it in 2018. Well, at least Kenny did that. He's got a bloody job on his hands, and it doesn't surprise me that he's not going to follow their example or even exceed it.
I think, like, not to just echo everything you said, because I agree with it all as well. Like, there are increasingly more examples like this, and I like that. In Dirty Dom and Kyle Fletcher, who are two more examples of this, I think there is a lot in. It's one of the. I'm trying to come up with like positives of 2025 in a year that because we watch all the companies, both of WWE and AEW. Like, I've not really found as many as I would have liked, but I've found myself. I can hear myself saying it a lot on these other podcasts where, like, oh, that's so WWE and that's so AEW, and they have moved farther apart stylistically. Good. Like, where the best wrestle as an AEW thing, which I know is like you've identified as sometimes for better and worse, is worth having if you're AEW as a direct contrast to WWE and vice versa, you know. So I like that they're both their company's guy in that respect. Dirty Dom's advantage in terms of how will they be remembered, you know, in 5 years, for example, is that Kyle Fletcher and the push of Kyle Fletcher and the rise of Kyle Fletcher happens in a company that, frankly, doesn't take a breath and treasure the moments. Yeah. The reason already you could probably summon 5 or 6 treasured memories with Dominik Mysterio. He's not even peaked yet. Yeah. But the reason you can, because WWE wants you to dwell on it, they want you to immediately have a snapshot moment in your mind of Dominik Mysterio losing his shoe up Edge's gooch, right through to the stuff with Rhea Ripley, right through to the moment when he's caught in the act with Liv Morgan, right through to winning the Intercontinental title.
The prison entrance. Like, capital M moments when it's a good thing, because some of the ball knowers and liars will tell you that it's always bad. It's not. Like, the idea is to, like, an imprint in your brain. It's probably a good thing you're off Twitter.
Yeah. To leave something, they've sent me insane, man. Like, you're supposed to be left with imprints, and that's the feeling that you connect to in the years afterwards. It's like they left you with something. Fletcher, through no fault of his own, is this super worker. Yeah. In an era of super workers, and I'm talking around saying his work is too good to be disposable, but it fits into that category where sometimes by accident it will be. Yeah. And that's a big difference.
It's very, very apparent who he idolizes, who he's very determined to exceed. And I am wary of portraying him as this one-dimensional Ospreay Omega clone. I do think he's done a lot of great. He's really funny sometimes in there. Like he will himself take time to try and build heat and like some of his like really funny bits of crowd work and stuff like that. So I don't want to, reduce him to a clone, but that's how a lot of people are going to see him. And ultimately they don't watch a Kyle Fletcher match to watch him like be very disdainful towards the crowd. They want to see him look like he's getting dropped on his head and breaking his neck, even though he isn't. So
he's shown a lot of willingness to evolve.
Yes, he is.
Chase like what might be the next thing. And that bodes well for him too.
Yeah.
Like we could have this conversation in a year's time. And if for whatever reason, like WWE, like misfire a little bit with Dominik's run, he suddenly feels like he's become stale. He's never felt stale yet, and that might happen.
Yeah.
Fletcher might have figured something out, whether it be an aesthetic change or a certain stylistic change that just actually pushes him to the next bit. And he's shown that he's a guy that'll take a gamble on it.
Yeah.
Like, I love the energy of Kyle Fletcher because there should be more wrestlers that are kind of ready to just take a spot.
Yeah.
And he's still got that. And I
just think his ceiling is the Ospreay-Danielson match. He's never doing Omega Okada 4 or 1.
No.
Or 2 or 3. Hot take from Martin Morgan at Welsh Gooner 95. My hot take is I wish it was you taking a 365 break. I think they mean day. I wish it were you taking a 365 break from Twitter and not Hamflett. There, I said it. So Welsh Gooner 95, all I will say is the ball was in play. It was in play. Stop crying about it. The next take comes from Graham Jack. There's nothing actually likable about Cody Rhodes as a babyface. The hair, the neck tattoo, the suits, the entrance. He is only loved because he is a big star who broke the Roman main event stranglehold and wasn't named Seth. Will be a phenomenal heel one day. He was a phenomenal heel early days. Well, when he joined BTE, the guy was detestable but loved to hate. Like, I love to see the continued exploits of Cody Rhodes. I get this, right?
We used to have shoot fights over this in 2019.
Yeah, Michael Hamflett believed he was a heel all along until he went to what company did he go to?
Daly's Place, Michael Sidgwick.
Yeah, what company did he go to?
He really found his stride as a babyface in World Wrestling Entertainment.
He did,
but no. I was 2019. I was like refusing to acknowledge this wildly popular megastar with his audience was actually a virtuous figure. It didn't sit with me for a bit. It took me a while.
It's one of those where I got it with Cody because he's an incredibly entertaining guy, the candid, like you could never be sure. Is he going to reveal too much the next time he cuts a promo? Very gregarious, very charming, had a really sort of cruel sense of humor, magnificent comedic timing, got a hell of a way with a deadpan. But it's one of those where he's very heel coded. The suit. That is a heel aesthetic going back as long as I've watched professional wrestling.
Yep.
It was either the statesman-like broadcasters who you're meant to take seriously, or the dickheads like Ric Flair. They wore suits.
His cars and his buses and stuff. It's horseman coded.
Yeah.
If you watch of a certain era. Yeah.
So Cody Rhodes has. What annoys me as well is, for years I've been buried for using big words for no reason. Right. As a guy who, since becoming like wrestling media, 2016, I love New Japan. Oh, AEW, select others. WWE, not for me, hasn't been for this entire century. And then when I would try and articulate this and make reasoned arguments, and sometimes have a little bit of, snarky fun, they would say, "You stupid arsehole, Sidgwick, with your big words, you pretentious arsehole." The savior of WWE has a snarky sense of humor and uses words in his promos that I don't think he does it quite as much anymore. But when he, in the AEW peak, the WWE peak, Cody Rhodes uses words in his promos that I would get savaged for using in my articles. And now he's your hero. Now he's your savior. So I get it. Like, there's certain characteristics he has that are not just heel-coded, but people hate them in other people, like me, right?
He's a jock.
He's a jock, but he's just such a commanding presence. He, so obviously wants it. It's weird. He's massive with kids. I'm not saying he's the same guy. I'm just saying kids, I was one of them, love the Ultimate Warrior.
Yep.
Kids like weird things. They don't even know why they like things. Like my son at the moment thinks 6'7". 6'7" is the funniest, coolest thing. And the whole point is no one knows why. So there's kind of...
Cody's the reason my kids got into wrestling.
Yeah, but there's this irrational... Someone just comes at you like a force of nature.
Yep.
And if you're a kid, and Cody's massive with kids, you don't really stop to think about it very much. You know who else is a complete dickhead?
John Cena.
Every top WWE babyface not named Steve Austin ever.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan, dick. Bret Hart, not a dick.
No.
Shawn Michaels, dick.
Bret Hart, not a dick, not a draw.
Yeah. Every big drawing WWE babyface has had characteristics, or like they've done it in their behavior. It's like, you're a dickhead. Yeah. John Cena, dickhead. Cody Rhodes, love him. I can understand why people think he's a dickhead. Hulk Hogan, dickhead. The Rock, like reveled in his dickheadness.
Yeah.
The only one who wasn't a dickhead really was, like, in terms of the character, I know the human being was, Steve Austin.
Yeah.
Of all the mega draws. Not like your Daniel Bryans and your CM Punks, your good wrestlers. Not the ones who bafflingly held main event spots for years and years and years and years for reasons. Triple H, your actual Rushmore candidate baby faces. They've all kind of been dicks, and it's a WWE thing. So it's a company full of them.
It's a Reagan's 80s classification of a hero, isn't it?
Yes,
because it started with Hulk Hogan, and that template has looped over and over again because it's the cleanest representation of the American dream, probably. Like, warts and all. Like, John Cena, Cody Rhodes has taken so much of what John Cena did and presented it in a way that isn't half as broken. John Cena's run kind of knackered it for Roman Reigns, didn't it?
Yeah.
Like, Roman Reigns didn't know when he was in it, but he had to follow John Cena, and that was an impossible job because John Cena had wrecked.
Is Roman Reigns still in it?
He had wrecked so much Cena about what it was to be the top babyface and what it was to be the company's top guy. Like, Drew McIntyre now says, "Corporate Cody," and people boo Drew McIntyre for being an excuse maker and don't mind that Cody's the company's chosen top star because you're supposed to kind of book around that. Whereas with John Cena, they lent in.
Yeah.
We hate this product now, and he's at the front of it. Said like an entire third of the audience. Kids, again, still adored him. Cody Rhodes has fixed that for at least like another third of the audience John Cena was never able to command.
Yeah, he still comes off like with so much more humility
and
respect towards his opponents, and he's very, magnanimous with the crowds and all the rest of it. So he's way less of a dick than John Cena is, but he's got it in him. I think even Cody himself would admit it. Like, look at the way they treated Ryback on the road. Like, this guy look at the way he treated Xavier Woods in high school.
The Punk Cody thing that's not getting spoken about much at the moment, as we all get excited about the potential WrestleMania match, is when they are more than once face-to-face, because each year so far it's been a free gift because it's been pre-Rumble. When they are actually face-to-face and when they're overlapping because there's a WrestleMania storyline happening, that litmus test of learning, A, who's got the ego to be, I'll be the heel, and B, who's got the genuine fan sentiment to be the babyface, I think is going to be, it's going to make fascinating television.
They'll boo Cody for Punk in favor of Punk.
I think so.
They'll boo Cody and cheer Punk if that happens.
And like the fans were too old and long in the tooth to say the fans decide, but it will be interesting if the fans in any way clash with what the company's creative direction was.
Yeah.
I think that's like a really interesting element of the...
Punk's a dick as well, of course.
That story when it takes place. I think that's going to be a fascinating... You'll be able to hear it in the lines in the promos, which way the company is wanting you to skew. And it's just going to be interesting if the buildings go with that or push against it.
I think Cody is the lesser of the Rushmore dicks. Everyone classifies him like that. Everyone says that.
I've been saying that for years.
He's the lesser of the Rushmore dicks, but it's a very WWE thing.
Not Rushmore, but it's just a lot of big old cocks and balls.
Like WWE would never have Hangman Page as Hangman Page in that role. It's just, it's a company thing. The company's a dickhead company. They're going to have dickhead baby faces to a degree. Cody, he's got dickhead characteristics. He would admit it. I do think there'll be conversations in like 10 years, just like there were about Hulk Hogan years after his run. God, he was a bit of a dick, actually, wasn't he? So maybe you're being prescient there.
He'll be a great heel. He'll be a brilliant heel.
I mean, this is a guy who got people in tears because he threatened to change that Bullet Club design. I mean, the guy's a genius, man. Ian McKenna writes, with the amount of thought he puts into everything he does, Hangman Adam Page is more Bret Hart than CM Punk will ever be. Correct. He is. He's not a draw. Sorry.
Yeah.
He's not a draw. He has cut some incredible promos, some pretty just middling ones, but you believe him.
Yeah.
The detail and the prop, like it was Bret Hart who said, I'd try and approach wrestling matches not as a wrestler, but as a film director. Hangman Page has got that, particularly with his use of visuals, like the blood spray, like the way in which like the tension he builds, like the way, even the way he uses foreground and background. Like I would be amazed if he wasn't really the key mind behind that famous Revolution 2020 scene where him in the foreground, so you focus is on him, and where like the slow movement of his hands towards the rope, and it's like that's what you're meant to pay attention to. Like
Excalibur only make a noise.
Yeah,
don't go any further than that because you have to register.
I wish you could direct Excalibur constantly. In fact,
he's in his headset while wrestling, but like all Excalibur, but then he says nothing more, does he?
Yeah.
So the register is for you, and then you're supposed to be with Excalibur. Going, I thought that too, but luckily nothing's happening.
What was so genius about that Revolution 2020 post match is it was I don't have to do this anymore. I used to rage constantly at the invisible camera, and it's just it invalidates professional wrestling as a whole, irrespective of how well written it is on its own terms, as an idiot plot, because they could all go back and watch it. That might be, and I understand as well that the actual camera, if someone's foreshadowing a heel turn, right, in the process of a match, the partner who is about to get betrayed could watch the match. It's like, it's all a bit, wrestling's almost flawed as a medium, in my opinion. I've made this point before. That is the most camera-proof storytelling development I've ever seen in my entire life. Ever. Like, they could watch the tape and have the same, was he? Nah.
Yeah.
Even though we can watch it and go, oh, he was, and that means it's continuing. The best use of the camera and the acknowledgement that we can all watch the show I think I've ever seen in pro wrestling. CM Punk and Shawn Michaels.
Yeah. Certainly closer to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. A disruptor. A guy that, like, the stubbornness of
like
the quality of his work is matched by the stubbornness and the willingness to kind of just.
Punk has that incredible cause and effect selling
of
a Bret Hart. He really does. Just that every little thing matters. So they're both a bit like Bret in a way. And that's what annoys me about the whole Brawl Out situation. I once did this thought exercise where I was going through all the parallels between the Bucks and CM Punk. Don't drink. Promise to change the world in Chicago. People hated them. Like, all these things they had in common. It's like, only for it to end up like that. They should have been perfect collaborators.
As Bret and Shawn should have been.
Yeah.
Like a lot of that stuff, the nature of wrestling, and that, like, where there are key differences, they become chasms, don't they, when they're not talked about and when they're not politically dealt with. They become these gulfs that you can no longer cross, as opposed to like one conversation way earlier back where it's like, it's a good job we addressed this, otherwise down the line.
Yeah, because it got real bad.
We've been saying this for a while now, the Hangman Page thing. It's the non-drawing thing is the most unfortunate aspect of it, because like Bret, I sense, me and you have talked about how
Bret was our main character.
Bret taught us kind of how to love wrestling.
Yeah, he's our main character.
You sense Hangman Page is teaching a lot of like younger AEW fans, like their love of wrestling will be entirely centered around Hangman Page forever. Like when Hangman Page is long gone and they're watching AEW, like I watched WWE today, I'll be like, well, everyone's done really well there. Well done on your 9.9. Yeah. You're not a 10, you're not Bret Hart.
Yeah.
Like I imagine that will carry forward.
Yeah.
Like, shame in a way, because they could have some cracking conversations, could Punk and Page.
You could.
Like, this bit would work, this bit wouldn't work. You were saying that. There is we used to talk about, like, CM Punk, Kenny Omega, and I've accepted that isn't going to happen. I would love it, but
I'd be crap now.
It wouldn't be the same, would it?
Nah, Punk's Washman.
No.
But yeah, he is.
Come
on, let's be real.
Yeah.
This is the real podcast, man. Even if apathy is the emotion we feel, that's what we'll give you. This is a real podcast, so just admit it.
The great sadness when I stop and think about it isn't just the loss of Kenny Omega and CM Punk never ever happening. It's Punk and Page. Because I watched that relatively recently, and it's fine. But when wrestlers like Bret and Shawn was often just fine, it is just fine. And their minds together in harmony. God damn, like what they could do.
I know.
Like Page, like Punk doesn't like him. Understandably, I know, but it's a little bit of the needle between them. It's the chop in the face, right?
Yeah.
Imagine the worked version of that across the story of the match.
I know.
Page the hard hitter versus Punky, like that. Like there is and that's me, a layperson, a million cool things they could have done together on the same page. The contrasts
that whole feud and that whole match is really sort of telling because no one knew what it was about. They were each telling a different story where Punk was like, well, we're both the top baby faces and I actually like and respect you, Hangman, but you're going to know you've been in a fight with me. And Hangman Page was, I will eat your skin, asshole. You know what I mean? Like, he hated him, and Punk was like, why? They were telling two different stories for reasons that we all know. But people at the time were like, no, it's really gripping, don't you? It's like they did the Homer Simpson watching Twin Peaks thing. Brilliant. I've got no idea what's going on.
It's like a dancing horse on its hind legs.
Yeah. It's just like, don't know what this is, but I'm into it. And then the match itself, botchy, awkward, can't take your eyes off it. It's just weird how there's been better stories in AEW and better matches since then, and yet doesn't get near the same kind of, oh no, it's good, this. Don't be stupid, it's good. It's like companies get away with so much when they have the trust of their audience, and arguably Tony Khan has never really regained it for a lot of people, the way that he systemically mishandled all of it. But if you don't want to relitigate it all on a podcast, you'd rather read about it, whatculture.com/WWE, or rather just Google the self-destruction of CM Punk in AEW if you want to take a trip down trauma lane.
It's the best article on whatculture.com/WWE this year.
Oh, thank you very much. Some are saying ever.
I wouldn't necessarily argue that, and I've wrote about 150 for that website. There's 150 of them, Jesus. Like
lifetime.
I don't know, how many have we done?
Oh, you've done well over 1,000.
In mind, I was like in the hundreds, but then
you're joking. You've written about 1,000?
Like, yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? That's a crazy life. 119 million views. Yeah, what am I saying? 2,500 articles.
Yeah.
We've been here ages.
Yeah.
That's nice. It's nice that.
Loads of that.
Yeah.
Absolutely loads of
Thanks,
it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Levi W. No, sorry, Crispy. I was just about to miss you out. I find Gunther incredibly boring. I don't. I also get it. In that I think the best Gunther matches are I hate this phrase, but it also applies here. The real. He is the guy who doesn't do all the moves. In fact, has won a lot over and over again, but it's the when, it's the impact, it's the presence, it's the way he can control it all. The best Gunther matches are amazing. I don't think he's had a match I would consider great, truly great this year. And I think the last one was Sami Zayn. Even that would have been not in his top 10. I wish he was allowed to be a little bit more violent. Like, come on, blacken some chests a little bit, you know. I think he's done a remarkable job of fitting in. But for me, I'd rather him see a little bit more violent. I think he's almost turned slightly into overrated these days. But the best Gunther/Walter matches, forget about it. Unbelievable. Can't agree, but he has fallen off a little bit for me.
I think he's been a better character and promo than a wrestler in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that. But like, that's,
really?
That's adapting yourself accordingly, isn't it, for the job at hand? I think he's such a fantastic pro wrestler that if he signed for AEW tomorrow, he'd be world champion contender in no time, because he would get that ability he'd get that violent streak back overnight.
Yeah.
He'd be permitted to chop people's chests
clean
open. And the promo game that kind of I don't think, did anybody expect Gunther to become the excellent sports entertainer?
He was getting watted
like
about 333 days into his Intercontinental title reign.
Yeah. He has nailed that.
He's class at that.
As a heel world champion, you know why Triple H goes with him. He's an absolute blast building up his babyface, losing opponents.
He's the smirk he's got.
He's fantastic.
He's fantastic.
I still think that old Gunther is in there, but I think he's understood why it's not required of him that much in the job. I think he's in that regard, I think he's an MVP in WWE, but less so than ever for the matches.
Yeah.
Like when you're talking about greats, I'd go further back than you. I think it's great, capital G.
Mania 39, yeah.
There's been some really cool moments. I've liked a lot of Gunther matches, and I think a lot of them have been impressive.
Yeah.
But just Gunther is this guy that, cage match will give, say, 10 of the greatest all-time WWE matches too. There's not many I put in there.
No.
Not many I put in that category.
Yeah. Levi Dub says a lot of AEW wrestlers only make the show regularly because they were there in the beginning, not because they merit the spot now. There are many who should be getting reps on the indies, ROH, but don't and suffer for it. Hook, Caster, Anna Jay, Julia Hart, Sky Blue, etc., etc. The women I feel really sorry for, because where are they going to go? Where, realistically? There's not many places. If I'm Tony Khan, I'm putting a lot of them on flights to pro wrestling, even the UK. That's getting a bit of noise around it. But there's not many places to go in America. If you're going to, a pro wrestling show, you're going to see more men's matches than women's. They've got so much catching up to do. So I feel sorry for them. I've talked about this loop. I've looped talking about this loop. I've bored myself talking about this loop in a loop. So I'll focus less on that and more on what were Private Party doing for all those years when it was did they work hard enough? I don't know. Is it the schedule at fault? What is it?
Everyone's entitled to their own lives, but Ortiz and Santana. What one wanted versus what one didn't.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And that's fine.
But there's a difference in how careers.
But are you going to be on my TV all the goddamn time? Ortiz, to his credit, isn't apparently he's doing some producing now and what have you. It's one of those where pancakes, waffles. I'm not advocating for the return of the killer calendar, but it's really apparent in a lot of wrestlers' work. And look, Dax Harwood has said people just want a spot here, it seems like, and they feel entitled to it. And I can rub people the wrong way when I disagree with that. Infamously, it was one of CM Punk's biggest he couldn't believe the culture there. He was like the Roy Keane of AEW.
Yeah.
It's your job. It is your job. I get it. Tony Khan is too loyal. It reaches a point where there are certain acts on that show, TJ being one of them, where I'm like, and the thing is, Tay Mello's had a baby. I'm not expecting her to wrestle to an unbelievable standard after that, for Christ's sake. Anna Jay's done the excursion. What do you do after that? Not get booked for months at a time, weeks at a time, and then Tony Khan's too loyal. It is a bit uninspiring. There is a culture in AEW. Lots of things I would change, like the whole sucking itself off, the fact that a lot of the young wrestlers don't seem to be actively going out and getting reps at a reduced rate. I would just okay, if you could make millions as a main eventer, it's like the way it always used to work. You'll get your millions as a main eventer. You'll get Cody money if you take the Cody journey. But at the same time, Cody timed it wonderfully, walked into an indie landscape that was hot. It's not hot anymore, so I can understand why the incentive isn't there. But really complicated, complex deal. What are your thoughts on it?
I've never wanted to be a wrestler because I don't have that competitive drive.
You don't have that dog in you.
I do not have that dog in me. I love watching wrestlers because it's a thing that I can't ever imagine being, and I get to see them doing something I would never do. Oddly, I relate to the AEW wrestlers that can't believe that they've got a 5-year contract and are going to do this. And Tony Khan, for the most part, honors them. So they're going to be, whoa, 5 years of a wish to be a TV wrestler.
Yeah.
That'd be cool if I made it on TV once in the next 52 weeks. I sort of get that.
Yeah.
I don't like it as a fan. He has inadvertently Zigglered 50+% of his roster. And what I mean by
Zigglered. I like that.
They're just there. You don't care if they're up the card, down the card, fighting for title, not fighting for title. They are just there. probably more than 50% if we're honest.
Yeah.
But like, and you're right to isolate the difference between the men and the women here, but the names are all the same. Like, it's just 5 years past. I talk about age versus TV age all the time. I'll take a 40-year-old I haven't seen for a while over a 25-year-old that's done nothing for 5 straight years because they feel ancient by comparison.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I don't know the answer, because if I'm the young wrestlers in a not that
It's
financially like fertile game, a cushy 5-year deal is a reason to live in it. You know, like Sammy and Tay have got a little kid, right? And if they're working once a week, keeping the bodies healthy, and then they're financially secure for the next 3 years, you're like, fine.
You can't be
as a fan, I should be allowed to be like rubbish.
Yeah. It's one of those
true.
where the only correct, honest answers do make you look like a total dickhead here. I don't want the killer calendar back. You know, like historically, it's been so heavily skewed towards the promoters. Now that it's pro wrestling was probably better when it was bad and unfair. It's a new way. Like, has there ever been I know they've signed loads of wrestlers, so in a way it's a silly comment, but the talent turnover in AEW it does not work, and yet it's the nicest and most ethical way around it that we've ever maybe had.
Yeah,
certainly in the US. So, wrestling's inherently bad. When I've been trying to tell you this for a long time. Bryn Bigelow says, and I'm going to be very succinct here because this is one of the more ultimate. Don't hurt me. Sacrilege corner takes ever. It is perfectly fair that Owen Hart and Mr. Perfect whenever WWF champion. Thank you very much, and thank you. I'm going to say 2 very quick things about this. There is nothing wrong with not being a top star. Definitionally, there should only be a very, very select few, and often the best wrestlers aren't the top stars. It's all fine. It's fine. In these specific examples, I'm just going to say that Owen Hart, unbelievable on his best day. It was way more fun watching him because of the really cocky nature, like really sort of whiny, obnoxious element of his character. It was way more fun to watch him get the smirk wiped off his face by like a 1-2-3 kid, like kick, than it was really plausible watching him hurt other people and control a match as this big main event presence, okay?
You don't hear people talking about his Intercontinental title reign other than him dropping Austin on his head. Nobody speaks about him being a solid mid-card heel champion.
I know, and he peaked early, did Owen, in the ring.
Yeah.
He peaked early, anyway. One of the best mid-card heels ever in WWF history. There's really nothing wrong with that. But I can't see him headlining WrestleMania as that heel and building it. Like, you had that brash personality type. That's perfect mid-card heel. That's what he was amazing at. Perfect. Physically thrashed before he entered the WWF. And, you know, look at the houses he drew with Hogan. They were terrible, relatively, compared to Hogan's
like
other
Owen was
opponents.
on top for almost all of 1994.
Yeah.
With Bret.
Yeah.
The whole year.
Yeah.
And Vince was like, I need to put a 7-footer over in 9 seconds because we need to try something else.
Yeah.
Like,
and Perfect's house shows with Hogan were famously like,
yeah.
But like business-wise as well.
That's what I like.
Did terribly.
I like watching them work together, Hogan and Perfect. They got good chemistry, but like,
No one bought it.
Nobody bought it.
Nobody bought it.
It's a context game, innit? Like, you just got to look at the
Nothing wrong with, like, they had great spots, great memories. The legacies will be remembered forever. It's one of those where I should have been world champion. You're looking at it through the wrong lens, in my opinion.
Look at the whole pie.
Look at the whole pie, Jenny. Pat Speed says, no one has told me any good reasons why Adam Page's first reign sucked. He had great matches. Pat says he loves the story with Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson. I love the Danielson one. Let's not go nuts on the Cole because I can't even remember the story piece realistically. The ending sucked with Punk, but if people made this as the bar, far too many favorite wrestler championship reigns would count. If CM Punk didn't enter AEW, I think the reign would have gone along a lot better. The problem when people say Hangman Page wasn't a world champion is because the world champion should be the top star, and that top star in that promotion at that time even though Page was doing great work and he didn't have the benefit of CM Punk, the ultimate iconoclast, missing 7 years and then gifting us and gracing us with his presence. Punk MJF was the hottest thing in a company, and it wasn't for the world title. Like, indictment of Hangman Page's ability to be a true world champion. No, I'm the orbit. I'm the most interesting thing. I'm the one who feels the most big time. It sucks for Hangman Adam Page that, you know, in and of itself, really great matches, didn't get enough promo time. His position on the actual shows was not good enough. He wasn't paraded out first. It was CM Punk was the top star in the company at the time, and the people were sort of shown it. I think Hangman Page was cursed. I mean, it's not every day that one of the best wrestling storylines ever gets told while you're the world champion at the same time. And I feel for Page because he was in it. He was feuding with Kenny Omega before that. Timing was just really bad for him, and I don't think Khan did anywhere near enough of a good job of hiding who his real favourite was, and I think the fans detected that.
This is not the millionth, oh, what if CM Punk never comes to AEW thing? This is certainly not to open that door. But if CM Punk never comes to AEW, it did feel like Tony Khan reached the end of his children's 2-year fantasy booking book when Hangman Page won the world title, didn't it? Like, it felt like
it felt like a different promotion after that.
Yeah. Now, the CM Punk is often used as the reason for that difference, and you've got MJF, and like Tony Khan can't have plotted MJF CM Punk when he was 16. You know, he can't have plotted that even in 2019 when he, you know, formed the company with the Elite and whatnot. But like, Hangman Page winning the title was this chapter closing in such a monumental way that you lift CM Punk out entirely. I'd love to see what that timeline looks like, because all of AEW is suddenly in need of direction. Because Tony Khan's just completed his first ever like opus, isn't he, with Hangman Page's crowning.
Yeah,
like that's a really challenging spot for not many. Like, Cody Rhodes finishes the story, and I love what he does in the aftermath. But like, we've disagreed on like the true quality of Cody on top, and he's done it box office wise, but creatively, you're not as high on it as I am. Like, Cody as a champion versus on his run up to winning it. It is the hardest job.
It's the hardest thing. Like, I think again, like, it wasn't even that good. Like that, if you go through the booking of it, like, he's idiot Sting against AJ Styles. They tell you it's title for title with Logan Paul and then change their minds. It's not like incredibly great storytelling. It's actively quite flawed and or bad. It's just difficult to do. It's difficult to do.
Page as well, to go back to the Kyle Fletcher point, they're not always great. They're getting better. They're not always great at making somebody feel featured. Mm-hmm. And Page suffered from that a lot. Yeah. I remember that vividly. Look, it is one of them things. It's funny, innit? You can prove anything with fact. Like, Pat Speed can say, love the Adam Cole thing, and everyone's entitled to subjectively liking or disliking matches. Hangman Page, I don't think anybody said they didn't have the matches. We go nuts for his Lance Archer one.
Yeah,
I particularly adore that first Bryan match. I think it's like a TV classic. Yeah. A TV wrestling bona fide classic. But it's not everything, is it?
No, CM Punk was the biggest star, and you cannot not be the biggest star when you've got that world title. It's like
Punk lived it.
It's a lightning rod for criticism. Absolutely. There was one more thing I was going to say on this. Oh, I can't remember. I'm sure it wasn't too important. 2 more questions. Sean Jabroni writes, Punk is the wrestler of the decade. For me, so it starts in 2020. Obviously, at that time,
Mr.
Calendar, Hangman Page ends 2019 having sort of failed on purpose and in reality. So there's a lot of believable stuff going on in that character arc. He's just started teaming with Kenny in December after November and Full Gear. So you go January, he starts the year with the whiskey glass in hand, ostracized by the Elite, because I don't know what the hell I'm doing here. Greg, cool. I'll have a drink then, shall I? Yeah, I guess. The Elite's still Elite. Well, I'm not even there. He does the the thing I've nicked for the outro, the sign off for the podcast, when he's got the glass, he's like, "Am I on? Hello, you're right."
Where that comes from?
I think that's where I got it from subconsciously, where he's, do not grass on me. And don't tell Wilborn that because he'll stop enjoying it so much.
Right.
But that, when that was like, oh, Hangman Page is a meme.
Yeah.
Is Hangman funny? Is Hangman bringing the, like, that BTE magic to television at last because it felt like it was eluding him? And then he has the beer picture, the hold my beer, the crowd serve celebration, the fans behind him, the magnificent story where he is scoring the pinfalls and Kenny's still treating him as his young boy. And he's doing him a favor almost by teaming with him and all the rest of it. To go from that to the 2020 story and the self-doubt and the cracked mirror to 2021, when he is with the Dark Order and you don't have to wear a hat to be a cowboy, and then he wins the title and the title reign doesn't go amazing, but then he's at the absolute epicenter of the discourse, and then the Moxley stuff really rejuvenates him, but only to an extent, and Swerve Strickland's like, what the hell's wrong with you? Then he has his second seminal, I'm not high on it as most AEW fans, but his second seminal storyline, sorry, too many S's, of the century. Most wrestlers have one, like legacy rivalry. They have one. He's got two in the space of, 3 years? 2024, some of the best heel work, so sophisticated because you think, Christ, he's doing these awful things in his eyes. With his eyes, he is telling me, and I'm believing him, he can be redeemed. And the storytelling is great because he loses, and it's because it's not Hangman Page. That's why he's losing. And then he has the All in Texas. That 5 years, this artistically, and in terms of the headlines, for me, the year belongs to the decade belongs to Hangman Page.
I think we're back to the Bret Hitman Hart thing, because who's the WWF wrestler of the 90s? Is it Bret Hart or is it Steve Austin?
And it's Cody Rhodes.
And it's Cody Rhodes. Yeah. Like it's for kind of everything we discussed about the Hart and Hangman comparisons, everything you're saying is true, and I think that's a really good articulate argument for it.
It's just from day one of the decade, like day one.
Neat,
it's so neat. But I needed a scotch.
There is because of the provable at this point, lack of connection is unfair. Lack of uptake from
commercial appeal.
Yeah, that is a big knock on that.
Shareholder? Is he a shareholder?
It's so rubbish when people say that. Like, and some of the worst people that say that were like reading the same Power Slams and Observers that we were, and you understood why. Like you were learning at the age when like ratings and buy rates mattered, and forming your opinions, and then all of a sudden you get to like 40 and you change your mind. How's that work?
I know.
I don't earn any money from it. No, you didn't when you were 16, but you used to like look at the Nitro Raw heads and form your opinions. Cody. It's the reason Cody Punk is what it is, isn't it? Like Punk talked an entire thing, Cody walked it.
Yeah,
look at wrestling 5 years.
I mean, Cody's the story.
It's this amazing.
Artistically, for me, it's Hangman. In terms of the defining wrestler of the decade, Cody had already done his thing and made his case for that. The decade before,
Cody's not a bad.
So you know what I mean? It's like
Cody's not a bad Punk in the late 2010s, major label in the 2020s wrestler, is he?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and I include AEW as his major label role.
Most important and some of the most important stuff that's ever happened in wrestling, not quite this decade. That's the only mark against Cody. He spent...
I fell in love with him in 2020, so I've got your similar, like, kind of... that was the first year that I really got him.
Yeah.
But by then, AEW was, like, kind of established.
He spent 2 years as a fairly unpopular babyface. Should have been grateful for him, and I told you at the time, this guy's great, and he has to win to stay a star, but no one friggin' listened to me.
There's an interesting...
Look where your beloved company is.
There's an interesting era of AEW. Like, I watch that promo sometimes in the jacket where he name checks Punk and he buries FTR. It's insane. But, like, there's no boos or cheers. You're watching Cody Rhodes talk to a hum, and it's like, how has this happened?
Yeah, what we're doing here.
You know what I mean?
Like the definition of what are we doing here?
Do you remember the backstage promo where like we just assumed he was working? Well, I don't know what's going on in my contract after he's wrestled Sammy.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's going on in my contract. We'll see. And we're like, yeah, all right, Cody. And like, but there's AEW fans online being like, well, if he wants to go, he can do. That was the...
They were throwing his weight belt back at him.
Yeah, that was the vibe. Mad.
2021
as a year for Cody Rhodes. When we think of 2021 in AEW.
And he was like...
Cody Rhodes was the weird outlier.
Below Miro.
Yeah. So weird.
Last question comes from Callum Ingle. And it is the biggest mistake Tony Khan ever made was hiring Colt Cabana, given his number one get from day one was always CM Punk. Sorry, Callum, incorrect. CM Punk doesn't care where Colt Cabana works, if he works or whatever. If he doesn't work, so no. Like, I think he did personally. Freedom of speech. You can't say March 6th, Colt Cabana not producing anymore. Steel, you are. If I'm a Colt sympathizer in that locker room, that is the coinky things of all coinky things, is it not? Is it not? So I don't want to relitigate all of it. I will say a very salient point, and it maybe speaks to the fact that on some level, Tony Khan's never been qualified to operate in such a ruthless pro wrestling landscape. Even in this sort of like the anime era of pro wrestling, it's ruthless. The people who work in it are ruthless. Tony Khan's, if you look at the way he treated Collision in 2023 with the pay-per-views, and he's a head in the sand guy. You know, the former wrestlers, so take that with a grain of salt, and all the rest of it have said he ghosts them. And like, I know of wrestlers who have been ghosted by Tony Khan. It does happen. Like, it does. Or they say it does, I should say. Like, it's Tony Khan's, what I perceive to be Tony Khan's just nature. He was never saying that to the Young Bucks. He should have. Because they were the ones who said, why isn't Colt here? He was kind of like the architect behind all of this that became this, and he's kind of a buddy, and da-da-da-da-da. Tony Khan should have said there and then, I'd want CM Punk to wrestle here eventually. I don't think it's a good idea to get Colt Cabana in, because it probably might burn my ass somewhere down the line. Should have. But you know what he should have done as well, Tony Khan, is he should have booked Colt Cabana, who was not a big star, but not everyone who wrestles on Dynamite is. Some of them exist just to lose. Some of them exist to lose when their value of losing has lost. Okay? Tony Khan should have booked Colt Cabana to do a job to any old goddamn heel in the world who needed a win ahead of a match against whoever, right? That's what he should have done. He should have put Colt Cabana in the ring on Dynamite to lose in 5 minutes to whoever. There's a lot of random matches. Stat padding goes on to this day, even when there's no stats. Just to put an end to the silly speculation that had gone out of control. If I had incontrovertible proof that I'm not the bad guy here, if I was Punk, I would have said, Tony, you hear what these idiots are saying? These idiots from Reseda who can't help stepping on their own dicks. Get that idiot, Scott Colton, in that ring now. I don't care. Let's show them. Funny how that never happened.
Funny. A little bit of, we're being funny. It's a bit of funny speculation on my part, because I just wanted to check a date, because I was thinking about this recently. I think when we were talking about your article. 2019, there is an alleged, I believe, first chat with Tony Khan and CM Punk, where CM Punk has met so many charlatans and
money mark.
Like, I don't quite believe it. And that's Punk saying, I don't quite believe in your vision, Tony Khan, but nice to meet you, respectful, all that kind of stuff. Cody Rhodes sends a text. CM Punk doesn't consider that a proper business office, so that never happens. That never materializes.
Cody Rhodes denies sending the text.
Yeah.
And as I wrote in the article, how ironic, even before he signs, there is a different side to the story between CM Punk and AEW. Even before he signs, there's a different story.
That's all 2019, right around AEW launching. And right around that time, CM Punk debuts on Fox for Backstage. October, November 2019, right? March 1st, 2020, a pandemic looms. And at this point, CM Punk is 5 months into what was supposed to be like a 2-year deal on Backstage. And seemingly content enough being a TV host on Backstage or whatever.
Sorry, I was just thinking about Kenny Omega and Jack Perry.
March the 1st.
Kenny's not been on Dynamite this week, so I'm thinking, is he having second thoughts?
Was there ever a time, quite like March 1st, 2020, where Tony Khan felt assured that just the CM Punk thing was not happening? and on March 1st, 2020 is when he officially signs Colt Cabana. If you look at where Punk was, if you look at the Lehman pandemic, Punk telling him that...
during the pandemic.
Hmm?
They were talking during the pandemic.
And he said he wouldn't wrestle until there were crowds back, didn't he?
Yes, I don't know what the timeline is, though.
But like the idea that he brings Colt in March 2020.
I mean, he's never said that, but clearly he says, well, I'm debuting in front of Austin Gunn.
When Punk, as far as anyone is concerned, is deep into a contract doing WWE coverage on Fox and backstage, Tony's
as good as gone.
He's thinking, ship sailed, fine Colt. You could, like, it's telling that he wasn't in when those first 2019 chats were happening, and he gives it 6 months.
If you look at some of the...
He mentally tries to...
Was Colt in the Double or Nothing Battle Royal?
He was in the all...
I know,
if
you look at some of the people who were... If you look at some of the people who were on, like, Fyter Fest.
Yeah, he wasn't at Double or Nothing, I don't think.
It's just weird how he wasn't there from the start, really, if he was available in that.
That would have been the period where Tony Khan's thinking, I can still get CM Punk.
Yeah.
March 1st, 2020.
But it's all
none of those things are related. We're just having fun.
Yeah, because he just said he doesn't care where he works or if he works, so he can sign whoever he wants. CM Punk does not have a problem with. He's not going to tell Colt Cabana you can't turn up to the buildings. He's not going to say that, Christopher Daniels, Ryan Nemeth, the Hardy Boys.
It's got good taste, Punk. Mostly.
Christopher Daniels, did I say that?
Yeah.
Jack Perry, he's not going to say anything like that. Never.
Reframe narrative. Punk does right by Collision.
If you have any hot takes, too late probably because we've already done the podcast, but we might revisit this format later on. But if you've got any sort of nice comments, any dickhead comments, I'm all about freedom of speech, let us know at WhatCulture WWE.
Something like new bits.
How do we do the outro now that you're not on X? What do we do? Oh, I know what we can do. You can follow me on X at msidgwick. You can get Michael Hamflett on Cameo at...
Michael Hamflett, search my name. Or I did set up a little email. I like the wrestling crack. hamflettx@gmail.com.
And that's how you can contact him going forward for a minimum of 365 days. When is this getting released, buddy?
The weekend, Saturday, probably, just before Saturday night's main event.
Okay, well, if you want to know our thoughts on Saturday night's main event, probably going to have to subscribe. Do so wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. Thank you to everyone who submitted questions today, whether we answered them or not. We ran out of time. I could do this all afternoon, but got to do wrestle culture. Wilborn's got to do his stars in their eyes, but, got to do that. Thank you very much for joining us today. If you didn't submit any questions, listeners, thank you very much. Have a lovely day. And wait.